cool.
What's something when you guys bought your first house? I know I've asked Kyle and Woody, but I want Dick's perspective. What's something that you didn't do that you wish you did, or something that you did that you wish you didn't do? Like just advice for a first-time guy like me.
What's your rape dungeon situation like in this new place? Because that was a big priority for me.
Yeah, I have plenty of room for dungeons.
Okay, that's good. My AC didn't work, but that might be just a SoCal problem. I wish I would have had a guy come out for $100 and looked at it and said, this is completely fucked and it's not even put together correctly, because the inspector who comes out is just trying to inspect the house to make sure it'll sell, and they're not actually looking for what fucks up for you. I think that was the only thing that I regret on mine. Let me try to think. The best part about my house was discovering as I said, the rape dungeon. I army crawled under the house to the other side of the house, and there's like this whole unused room behind the master bedroom that it has a slab. It has 2x4s put all around it. Like all I need to do is knock through the wall and put up some new drywall, and it's like a whole new room in there. Kyle, you're saying no.
Get rid of the door. See, what you want is a room that has no doors. The only way to get into the room is via a hatch in the floor. You have to go down the hatch, crawl under the house, and up through another hatch.
You're dead right.
Which is concealed, of course. You're going to want tile flooring there. You can make it so that you got to have you don't want it like fingernail style where you like pull the tile up that way. You need a special tool.
I'm thinking the gym should be above the rape dungeon, right? Because there's more than one way to work out for starters. 2, you might like a CrossFit situation. And 2, you could easily cover the hatch with heavy things, dumbbells.
And it'll scare your prisoner when like the loud clang of the deadlift hits the top of their chamber.
I really like this secret door. I should do a bookshelf or maybe like a fake arcade game that you can crawl through and you got to give a little noise to get in.
I know someone.
It would never work if I had one of those bookshelves that was a secret escape hatch, because I fucking guarantee the first thing that happened when I had people over is like, yeah, there's a kitchen, there's a living room. Come look at my secret door through the bookshelves, and everyone would be like, all right, well, we know where Taylor is. Like, if shit goes down, like it wouldn't be worthwhile.
I know someone who has a secret hatch. All right, so you go in this person's house. And there is it looks like a broom closet, like a cupboard. It's a regular sized door, but it's a very shallow closet, like we've probably all seen in a house somewhere. You know, it looks like it's good enough for a few cleaning supplies on racks and a broom or two. No, the back of that door, the back of that little closet comes away, and it leads downstairs into a gun room.
That's so cool.
It looks like in one of those 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger movies when it's time for him to gear up to go take out the Colombian dictator. Like it looks like that. All right, you go down there and it's a fucking it's let's just say 150 rifles, 50 handguns. The body armor is hung onto mannequins. There's 3 sets of body armor for each individual that's in the home that's a fighting age male, as the military calls them.
Why would you need 3 sets?
One for each fighting age male.
Oh, I misunderstood. I got the impression there were 9 total.
And the body armor isn't just like like body armor. It's the plate armor, right? That I've shown off in videos before, and a bunch of people have or whatever. But it's got all the magazine carriers on it. And each one is set up for a different firearm rig, right? Like one of them has like MP5 and like Glock magazines all over it, right? Right next to it is the MP5. The other one is set up for like an AR-15. So it's got AR-15 magazines stuffed all over it. The AR-15 is right there next to it. They're all 3 like that, ready to rock and fucking roll.
Dude, if I had that, I'd have like a billboard outside my house that said, "I'm out of town." Like just something to try and get it moving.
Oh, the security system at that house is absurd. We were off site at one day. We were several miles away, and his phone did a thing like that sounded like an Amber Alert or something. He's like, "Uh-oh, someone's breached the perimeter," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "Get back to the house, boys." And like 2 guys hop in a truck and haul ass to his house because he's got a lot of valuable things aside from the guns that aren't in a dungeon or whatever. And he's like, I'm like, what are they going to do if they catch somebody there? He's like, it won't go well for them. And we just sit there for like 15 minutes and waiting to hear back if like a bunch of intruders just got mowed down back at the compound or whatever. It was turned out to be nothing.
Yeah, there's one less raccoon in this world.
Yeah, right. It was something like that. But yeah, wouldn't want to try to invade that guy's little fiefdom over there. It's pretty legit.
I might be alone in this, but as you were describing just how ready he is for the next Chinese, Russian, Cambodian invasion or whatever,
home intruder.
It started to feel a little like
US
cosplay,
invasion.
right?
No. Well, see, he's a famous guy who has a lot of money and gets threats, right? Like this is someone who is preparing for a known threat. You know, it's not like Joe Schmo down the street has an arsenal in his basement with a rocket launcher. It's more like a guy who routinely gets threats from scary people who are like, oh yeah, I'm going to come to your house and do X, Y, and Z. Is like, all right, well, I'll prepare for that possible eventuality, I guess. I have the money, and it's kind of, you know.
Right, you've won me over. I pictured.
You know what would be cheaper
and
Bubba. As effective? Cheaper and as effective of a home defense technique, I think, would just be going to like a Nordstrom rack and buying a bunch of those creepy ass old mannequins that they don't use anymore, and then like do disturbing like eye scratches on them, and then like all the pictures in your house near the entryway, of course, have like your own family. You switch these out every night. It's a time-consuming process, and it's got like your own family, like with the eyes X'd out. There's like dolls with no heads sitting in corners, and so if somebody bursts in and they see 10, oddly placed mannequins around and pictures with eyes scratched out, and like something else random, I don't know, a bolo tie sitting around, like they're not going to want to come in. They're going to leave. I wouldn't rob that place.
The Home Alone defense system, like the Michael Jordan.
This is the Home Alone defense system, but it's 100% a bluff.
I know another guy.
At no point will a can of paint swing down and get them. It's just a spook.
I know another guy who is 10 times more wealthy than the previous guy I talked about, maybe more. He's famous amongst like the firearm community. Like if I said his name, a lot of people would know, but like you guys would have no fucking clue. But he owns some firearm companies, plural, and in any case, his home is, first of all, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's a bitch to get to, but once you're there, there's literally this tower that comes up in the middle of his house that's basically a sniper tower. I mean, it looks decorative. It doesn't look like something ridiculous. It doesn't look like Rambo. It's like glassed in, although the glass opens up. And I was like, well, that's not overboard. It looks nice, and I bet if you go up there and drink coffee in the morning, it's a pleasant thing to do. And then I find out that he has all of these diesel generators and all this fuel stored, and that in the basement, he's rigged it up so that he has these HEPA filters that even if there's some sort of chemical attack outside, the air will be purified down there. And I'm like, well, what if you run out of filters? And he's like, oh. And he's got filters for days, these really expensive, massive HEPA filters and he had like massive supplies of ammunition, like not 10,000 rounds, 800,000 rounds, like bushels of rounds, and not just like AR-15 ammunition or AK-47 ammunition, 50 caliber ammunition, and not the regular kind, like the fancy kind that's like Ralphos.
What was he preparing for?
Anything.
He told me what he's preparing for, but I won't go into it. He's got the crazy, like, I'm trying to think what they're fucking called. I had 3 of them, and I was proud of myself. And he had thousands. But it's like carbide or something. The tip is sharp, like a needle on this 50 caliber round, and it's meant to pierce things. It'll pierce through like a large amount of hardened plate armor. You need reactive tank armor to stop one of these bullets effectively, and he's not shooting them one at a time. You're probably picturing a guy with a bolt-action 50 cal. No, this is a guy with many 50 caliber machine guns, and they're not all just sitting in a closet like, okay, what are you going to do? Put your 50 caliber machine gun slowly together while they come at you? No, he's got one mounted on a tank. He's got one mounted on an armored personnel carrier. He's got them mounted on tripods that are easily like put into place. It was a realization that like this isn't the only guy out there like this. There's a lot of these guys out there, and
it's like a Waco situation.
Waco they had nothing like what this guy's got.
They had that show,
they might have done better.
Preppers, that I was really looking forward to. But this, I want to see like a lifestyle of the rich and famous, but like lifestyles of the rich and deranged, or the paranoid and armed, because that's fucking awesome. Like, that's better than Shark Week.
See, I've had the same conversation with some of the guys. I worked with the Doomsday Preppers people at A&E and did some work for them, and I also worked with another show that's similar to Doomsday Preppers but more of a ghetto version. And the issue that both shows had was the legit people, like the people like you're talking about, the people that I'm describing here. There's a reason I'm not using their names. They wouldn't appreciate that, and it wouldn't be cool of me to say their names or give their locations in the world. These are people who they're not doing anything illegal. Everything they have is 100% on the up and up. But they don't want people knowing that they've had millions of dollars worth of stuff, sitting around, and they don't want, it to be a known thing where things are, layouts and such like that.
That's the worst part, because part of being secure in when the shit really hits the fan is,
anonymity.
Anonymity. Like, here's where the secret door is to my bunker, and it's,
right.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be a neat show though. I would enjoy it.
Oh, if they did some sort of
those preppers, like, I feel like there's a critical mass where it's just useless. Like, you can't, unless he has a militia of people with him who can operate those other weapons. It's like he's gonna be like a kid in a candy store when the military finally does show up. He's not gonna know what to use.
He essentially does have a militia. Actually, that guy's part of a militia. I remember that.
Okay, that's pretty dope. That's awesome.
Well, his employees are all seem to be knowledgeable. Most of them are ex-military. And I don't mean he has 3 employees. I mean, he has hundreds of employees and stuff like that. Jesus. And I met a lot of these guys at the Knob Creek machine gun shoot in Kentucky. And militia's not a dirty word there. I feel like at large, it has kind of become a dirty word because it gets mixed in with a lot of that Charlottesville white supremacist tiki torching asshole shit. But that's not the case, generally speaking, right? There are some guys who take the Constitution very seriously, and they're fulfilling a militia role, and oftentimes they're in really remote, isolated communities where if something did happen, a militia might be your last resort. The same way that in certain areas, like if you call 911, they're like, all right, see you in half an hour. So it's smart to be armed yourself.
I have a much smaller sample size with regards to talking and knowing militia members compared to you, I would guess. But the people I see who are into this in a big way, like their hobby and passion is the apocalypse, are almost wishing they lived in a different world. Like, whatever set of skills and circumstances they have in real life, they're not thriving, right? They're just like, oh man, but as soon as zombies hit, I'm going to move from this trailer to that guy's house, and I'm going to be, who's the not Rick Grimes, but the guy he fought against for 2 years.
The governor.
Nope.
Negan.
I'm gonna be Negan as soon as the apocalypse hits, right? I've got all the guns. I'll have all the henchmen, and it's like, dude, stop it. You're not preparing for anything. You're dreaming. You want to prepare for something? Go get a fucking accounting bachelor's degree. You'll improve your real life.
Yeah, for sure. That's
not as exciting though.
Because that is I feel that. I do wish that the happening would finally happen. I know a lot of my guy friends who are exactly the guys you're talking about, Woody. I know that they'll say, we'll get drunk, and somebody will go a little too far and say something like that. And you're like, you said it this time. You fucked up this time, and let everyone know that life is soul-sucking depression because we have no innate value in this system.
Real life. You're crushing it. You've got a card game. And Taylor says your Patreon is awesome.
But we need more. We're designed for more.
But do you have a real job, Dick, or is this your job?
Well, I mean, real job. I got a square job. I got people that I don't tell when I'm on shows like this.
Oh yeah, see, there will be a point. I say, because I think you're very good at this. There will be a point where your regular job becomes a waste of your time and talents, and you're like, you know what? Fuck that guy. I'm gonna spend all my time telling dick jokes on the internet, and then you'll have no reason for a militia. You will want real life. It's better.
I agree with you. The older I get, that Call of the Wild is less. I founded a marketing company years ago that I still run with my partners, who was part of the lawsuit. Like they got sued along with me for online comedy stuff. I love that job. It was fulfilling before all the comedy stuff. But I agree with you. I'm just saying, I want a holiday for men where everyone will participate in our shared delusion that the world is under attack and they need us.
We'll call it the Purge.
Yes, but now no one has to get hurt. It's just a Halloween for men. That's all, to get all this Christmas shit out of our system.
This would be great. And this is what International Men's Day should be. Women have to stay indoors, and we get a whole day to go play out our archaic fantasies of fighting with each other in the street. For that day, everything's legal. The police take a day off. So I guess it'll be like most days in St. Louis, where you just start fights in the middle of the street, nothing happens. Yeah, I do think you're onto something there, not even in a jokey way. Like, people do want more. Like, there is something primal that they kind of, well, obviously these people fetishize end times to a great deal, but most people, I think, like, everybody's fantasized about that, how they would do it, like the exciting aspects of it.
Oh, I'm on the opposite side. I think of how much it would suck. I feel very vulnerable out here in the middle of my grass. I don't have much cover.
They're coming.
I was out flying my paramotor today.
That rich motherfucker over there.
An Osprey went by and a military Black Hawk went by. And I'm like, either one of those would just fuck up my whole situation. I don't want a single hole in my roof, let alone losing like one of the sunrooms or something. Like the apocalypse, the end times, the Chinese invasion or Russian invasion from my childhood. Like none of these things would work out well for me. What I have is better than any of these.
As a kid, you never thought about Red Dawn?
Oh, as a kid, yeah.
The scenarios that a lot of these guys lay out as like potential like doomsday type scienarios, or not necessarily that it's the doomsday where like nothing will ever recover, but that like this is a scary time that I'm preparing for, are things like a biological outbreak, something like that, or the dollar, or some sort of a financial attack, some sort of electronic financial attack, like making the dollar like worthless suddenly.
So much wasted time and effort if money's suddenly worthless.
Or if if the electrical grids all went out for, say, a month, right? And all the food in the grocery store goes, first of all, there'd be a run on food. We all know that if there's ever a blizzard in air quotes, because like 3 inches in the South is a blizzard, then like there's a run on bread and milk. Like everybody's making French toast apparently, because there's just, it's all fucking gone. And all the canned goods, it's like they're getting enough food for a month, and suddenly there's not a lot of food left in the world. You need those trucks to be able to make it down the interstate and get it to you. Well, if there's no electricity to run the diesel pumps at the fucking gas station, all of a sudden those trucks aren't showing up with food. If there's no electricity to keep all the food cold at Walmart, well, then it all rots, all of the perishable goods. If all of the security guards and employees are protecting their families back at home, because we've seen what happens in a Katrina situation, right? When all of a sudden there is no rule of law, there's a disaster. There's roaming street gangs and stuff running around, raping it up and looting televisions and shit. So
Heineken's.
in that type of scenario,
put yourself in the looting mindset. It's all going haywire, and you're out there in the mix of it. And I know what I would do. I'd be like, you know what? I'm not going to be the only one not looting. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to loot too. Where are you going to loot?
Pornography. Everyone's going to run out of all their other items, but what are you going to do? Draw your own pornography? You got to come to old Dickie Boy. I got all the magazines in town.
You got the stickiest magazines in town.
Gobbled them all up.